Assalamu alaikum. Sulman Rahim here. Rest of the covenant. Break of the seven seals. Welcome. Sisters and brothers, the Harkos. They've been paying attention. They're going 24/7 to get you to forget it. Some of you don't even know where it is. You think, well, went through something. Some of you know you went through anything. They, the effort is so great to erase that history of horror, the nation of horror, the land of the free, home of the, what's that called? Home of the brave, land of the free. When they said that, it was absolute horror in his land, enforced by the greatest terror ever known, terrorist nation, a terrorist people. George Washington, Jefferson, terrorists, supreme terrorists. They had thousands of slaves. How you keep them under oppression like that with terror? And they called slavery. Slavery was the economic part, maximum profit, minimum overhead. That's what slavery was, is. It's still going on. It's still enslaved now. It's just slavery 2.0. It's industrial slavery. It's still slavery now. You should understand it. That was agricultural slavery, but now you're industrial slavery. How would industrial slavery look like? What would industrial slavery look like? What would industrial slavery look like? You'd be working at a plant, right? Factory somewhere instead of a field, right? You'd be doing certain hours. You'd have a taskmaster called a supervisor. You'd have a master called a boss. They would still control your living conditions. You have to pay rent. They control where you buy your food at. If you disobey them, you get fired, you're punished. So therefore you can't buy anything, you can't eat, you can't have a place to sleep. You're homeless. If you disobey enough, you get in prison, beaten. Send me something here. Get in prison, beaten, you executed. You understand, brothers and sisters? You're still enslaved. It's industrial slavery. See? But the thing is, they want to make you think there's anything but that. Industrial slavery. We're still under that. We're still under Holocaust, but we're still industrial slavery. They said you're free. How are you free? Tell me, what do you have? Tell me, what's the nature of your freedom? Do you have your own language? Do you have your own culture? Do you have your own land? Do you have your own laws? If you disobey master, what happens to you? You have to obey them. So what do you have? What do you have? If you're free, you don't get it. They never freed you. They never freed you. The nature of their society changed, so they changed the nature of your slavery, your servitude. Now you're not working in the fields, but you work at the plant, and you still have nothing. Nothing. Tell me what you have. If you're free, what is it you have? What is it that you have? What is it that you have if you're free? The Holocaust, brothers and sisters. That's what it was. Look at those pictures there. Hold on, brothers and sisters. I forgot my audience. This is the Black Alert segment of the Firestone. What do you have, brothers and sisters? The Holocaust. That's the Holocaust. That's what it was. For over 400 years of horror, slavery, rape, dismemberment, poison, beaten, forced to eat shit. Literally, what do you think chitlins is? Now they call it chitlins, and you still eat it. It's the shit in the hole, stuff that you throw away. But that's why I say maximum profit, minimum overhead, because they had to feed you something to get work out of you. So they gave you the stuff they was throwing away, chitlins, and they didn't remove the shit when they cooked it. And you ate it. If you didn't eat it, knock your teeth out and force down your throat, because you was going to work. That's Holocaust. So tell me, brothers and sisters, if you're free, what do you have? If you're free, you're still under their control. You still obey their laws. You do what they tell you to do, or they throw you in prison or beat you, or both. They still shoot you down when they get upset with you. What do you have? You have their language. You don't have your own name. You don't even have that. So what do you have if you're free? And you think you're free, you're not free. You never was freed. They changed it to 2.0, but they had to make you think that you was free. So in other words, instead of giving you that shack, right, they give you money so you can buy that shack. You can rent that shack. Instead of just giving you food, right, they give you money so you can buy the garbage food they control that comes to your community. Same thing with the clothing. But they don't pay you as much as you earn, like they didn't, the maximum profit, minimum overhead. So if you take use 1,000 calories a week serving them, and then they pay you at the end of the week, right? And after you finish paying your bills and everything, you're going to buy 500 calories. Are you free? You're still, it's like using the field. You work more than what you got. And all the time you're building wealth for them. They tell you the wealth in America is like 100 to 1 compared to you to them. You're still a slave, and you walk around happy because now they got you. They know they really got you now because, hey, he's happy. He's a happy slave. They know you're still program. It took 64 years to program you. 64 years from 50, 55 to 16, 19 to program you into Negro butts. Negro butts, biological robots. Programmed to self-destructive behavior. Programmed not to think, not to ask questions. Never ask questions and love master no matter what. The more he beats you, the more you love him. And you prepare for master in the sky because he's saying master here. And if you don't obey this master, that master's going to tear your ass up for eternity. That's the story you got. That's the story you're still living with. That's the program you got. And you're still under that programming. And you know you're under that programming, right? And then you also program your children. And you have program. You make sure your children get that same programming. Stay here. Obey master. Work on a job. American dream. How's that got you? 50-some years since you got so-called integration, right? What has that done for you? You still own anything? You have anything? You control anything? Still got their names? It's not even your name. There was brands. They weren't names. It was brands. They branded you Toby Richardson. And everybody on the plantation was named Richardson because they was owned by Master Richardson. When he sold you to Master Jackstone, you became Toby Jackstone, Marie Jackstone. And you still walk. So they know they still got you programmed. Oh, what's your name? Oh, honey, my name is Mary Jackstone. See, they wink at each other. That nigga still programmed. Men church, yeah, man, I love Jesus. That nigga still programmed. See? How about, oh man, yeah, I love this America. I love America. Nigga still programmed. They know it. See? Anyway, brothers, since we got quite a few things to talk about here, so I'm going to proceed. I want to talk about something else first. You know, so this programming. Now we got all these Negro busts running around here. We know they're demons. They're master children through rape, 40 years rape. So it says half the blacks in America are their children. It's wolves in sheep clothing and chaff amongst the wheat. So we know that. At least you should know it. But I guess many don't know it. That's what's called the confusion. The terror bus design is supposed to cause terror and confusion in the community, right? And be role model for you to be loved, master, and whatever. But if you get your programming gets any kind of astray, any kind of way, then they come in and terrorize you. And they actually do terror on 24/7 base anyway, right? Keep you terrorized to keep you in fear of each other. Keep you in fear of each other and in fear of master. So you're in fear of master and you're also in fear of each other. That means you never unite. Because you can't trust that nigga next door, right? Because he looks just like you. So you think he's one of you. So, man, I hate them niggas, man. Look how they act. That's not you. They look alikes. So now you can't trust your real brother when he comes up to you and a real sister because you already been experienced by these demons, right? So you can't trust the other ones because you, and that's one of the diabolical aspects of it. And they say, well, one drop of black blood makes you black. It makes you black. Don't make you one of us. Make you skin folk. Don't make you kinfolk. But their hearts and their minds, those house Negroes, their hearts and minds are to the master, not to you. They hate you. But on this programming, see, they got you. They took your left side away. How did they take your side away? When Jesus said, he wasn't talking about physically blind people. They took their sight from us. That story was saying they took their sight from us. How do you do that? Because they took our foresight. We're foresight people. And how we get foresight? That's the scriptures. The scriptures are written for foresight. Elijah Muhammad told you scriptures written for foresight, not hindsight. They're written for foresight, not hindsight. But you got these liars telling you, like Farrakhan or these other clowns, telling you they're hindsight because that's how they blind you. Because they tell you they're foresight, then you expose themselves. Because then you see Farrakhan, that's who he is, because you read Exodus in the sense that Exodus is current and foresight, then you identify Aaron right away. You identify Farrakhan, Aaron right away, the worship of his golden calf, the deceiver of the people, right? To deceive them, turn their hearts back towards Egypt. That's what it does. You're trying to turn your hearts back to America. We ain't going nowhere. We deserve this country, all that kind of stuff. Totally contrary to Elijah Muhammad taught. That's why they do that. Oh man, that's history. See, because they convince you that your rear view mirror is your front view mirror, your front view window. And once you're that, then you driving down, you comfortable, you driving down the highway 50 miles, 70 miles an hour, you come because you see everything, you don't see nothing. What you see was behind you. So you know how it's going to wind up. They stole your sight because scriptures is current and future. Elijah Muhammad told you that. They write future history, not past history. What the hell is good at that? So once you start looking at content in scriptures from present to future, they're exposed. They're all exposed then. Just like chapter 20. Chapter 20 of Revelation is called AL-INJIL. It tells you their history. It tells you that the ones still in the pit, right? The bottomless pit was the Europeans. They went through 1,000 year dark ages. Then they come out and control the whole world and deceive everybody. But they tell, no, that's a millennia. That's what happened in the future. See? So they distort time. They said they would try to change the time and the seasons. So once you understand that, there's a lot of wisdom in just understand that, because then you understand script, and then you also understand that the scripture is also software. That's your mind. It's your mind to be restored to you. See? Because they say it two ways. They say your heart, which means your mind, that they're talking about, or your sight, right? Both, your foresight. But they're telling you how to be restored, because that's what scriptures do. The scriptures are designed to give you the insight, the foresight for the period of time, right, that you're living in. And the believers are successful because they upload that software, because it's software. The software, or your mind is your software for the time you're living in. So the believers do that. The disbelievers don't, and so they're lost in time. They don't move forward. Because we got to create time. Time doesn't come by itself. You have to create it. So the believers know how to create it because they get software. They know how to create the time. You understand that? So you get software, so you had to create the time. And that's where the software, what's the software for our time? It said it was locked down, 7 seals, so nobody could mess with it. So our total mind be restored. That's angel, what you call revelation or the apocrypha. And once that you restore that, then you know exactly you have software, right, in the mind for this period of time. The Quran is not the mind, it's not the mind, it's not the software for this period of time. It's software for 1,400 years ago. It's software for that. See, and so it gave them the right mind to do what they did to control, right, that region of the world for over 1,000 years. And when 1,000 years over, that mindset was no longer viable, and so they lost power because they was blinded until they had the software, right, and the site for to deal with the world that the Europeans brought in. See, because they went back and got their sight back. How did that? They went into a religion with the pilgrims and all those people, right? See, because they went back into the Bible. They separated church and state. So they put that Catholic church back on the back burner. And they went into that and then started studying mathematics. The Bible is a mathematical book. You don't understand it. And once they started doing that, their power came back to them. And therefore, Sunnis had no power over them anymore. The Quran had no power over them anymore. The Quran has no power in the last 500 years because it's irrelevant. It's not going to come back. They get new scripture. No scripture ever comes back. You say, well, the Bible. No, it didn't, because they wasn't actually following the Bible. See, what they did is they mixed it up with Roman culture. That's why we call it the Roman Catholic Church. They didn't really get hold to the Bible, right, until as they thought Jesus taught it until 500 years ago. They thought Jesus taught it. They followed that guidance, and then they became powerful. They controlled everything. And they knocked every religion to its knees. Every religion fell to its knees, fell into submission to what? To mathematics. Not to Christianity, to mathematics. Every religion on the planet shows that their philosophies not real, because they can't bring anything to existence based on those principles. They can't bring anything to existence based on those principles. Only mathematics can do that. That's a true religion, if you're going to call it religion at all. That's why Elijah Muhammad said, Islam is mathematics, mathematics Islam. If you understand it perfectly, that's why Allah, in the greater sense, just mathematics. Because mathematics is just, it's perfect, it's love. Because everything is, that's love is, everything just puts right into place. Perfect. You understand? So Allah, in the greater sense, that's what it means. But Allah in person is an individual. We're the consciousness of the universe. We are the universe, actually. But you need to understand that, brothers and sisters. I say, so that's where message of the black man was perfect for that period of time of Elijah. It did its job. Because that's the software you needed for that period of time. Quran was perfect for that period of time, 1,400 years ago, for 1,000 years. And it did exactly what it's supposed to. Even the Quran itself says that God could make, God would be loose, and no one could stop them but God himself. It tells you, nobody could stop them but God himself. And he would not appear until the end of time. See? And he wouldn't appear with the Quran. They don't want to tell you the truth. He appeared with the angel. That's what they call him Jesus. He appeared with the angel, but they said the angel was lost. So God produced a book that'd just be lost. He wouldn't know it would be lost. So I got all these people running around here thinking they know stuff. They don't know shit. See? So they have all this knowledge, but the point is knowledge is irrelevant. See? It's like right now. You could be the best horse and best buggy maker in the world. You got a lot of knowledge about making horses and buggies, but what good is it? So that knowledge is of no value. It's irrelevant. It's like the chronic knowledge is irrelevant. Irrelevant at this point. It's knowledge that covers this period. I mean, it has general knowledge. It's like the message of black man does also. But you need specific knowledge. You need specific knowledge. And that's where the message of black man came for specific knowledge for that period of time. The Quran came for specific knowledge for them to gain control and rule for 1,000 years, which they did. After 1,000 years, just like the angel says, right, chapter 20, control, they lost control, and they never regained it. In fact, Sunnism will be totally crushed. In 2 years, there will no be Sunnism on the planet. In 2 years, there will be no Sunnism on the planet. Zero, out, gone. Just like all these other, all these mythologies you think it's out there, Roman mythology, Greek mythology, Viking mythology, North, all that stuff, those are religions. And they actually came from books. Those are revealed religions. But you understand it. but they out of tune. So people call them mythology now. Because first of all, they didn't understand them. If you go back and look at the Viking, the Odin and all that kind of stuff, that's if you understand, that's talking about things happening right now. Those were revealed religions. They said if you fought and you went what they call heaven, Valhalla, the Hall of Allah. When you read that stuff about Thor and that kind of stuff, right? Well, those stuff was revealed stuff, but within that type of language. See, Thor was this person. He had this hammer. They threw. It would always come back to him, but if somebody caught it, it wouldn't come back. That's the Air Force. That's European Air Force. And then the other one he could hear anything across the planet, right? Which you think that is? That's radar. Odin, he's the same thing as what's it called? What person's name? Odin, he's the same one as Jajal. Right here, blind in one eye. He's saying the same story. He's blind in his spiritual eye, but he's bright in his technical eye. And that's what Europeans, they're very bright in their technical eye. They analytic, but they're blind on the spatial side. I talked about that. All those things are right in there. But you think, oh, these mythologies thrown away because they don't understand them. And the same thing with them about Sunnism in a few more days. That's mythology. See? Because it's not relevant anymore. It sounds crazy. I mean, you got stuff in this, it sounds great at that time, but you look at it now, it's like right now, a lot of biblical things, you look at it right now and say, man, Noah's Ark? If you do the science on it, it makes no sense at all because it doesn't hold up to science at all. None of that stuff holds up to science, none of it. But it makes good sense for the period it was in. And that's why the angel stops all of that, puts everything back in mathematical sense. It reveals everything. There's no spiritual spooks, nothing intangible. Everything is totally relevant. Everything is totally relevant. See? So they walk around and I got all this knowledge and everything else. Okay, that's fine. It's like that joke about Superman, right? He goes to get a job. So he goes to the agency, right, what they call employment agency, whatever, they send people out, Girl Kelly kind of stuff, right? So they go there and it says, interview. Man, I can run fast and speed and train, right? I can sleep over mountains, right? I can bend still, right? And I can break rocks with my hand. And the guy said, yeah, well, that's good, but can you type? Can you type? See what I'm saying? Can you type? So all that's good, but is that relevant right now? Because these clowns don't know shit. Because Farrakhan had no idea what's going on right now. He's guessing. He watched CNN. He didn't see COVID coming. He guessing. He's going by what they tell him on the news about how his war's coming up. Anybody can see it. Ray Charles see it right now. His war's coming on the horizon. I've been telling him for 30 years. But he had no idea how it's going to come about. So he's going with their version because he don't know. See? None know anything. See? So, well, Elijah said this. Well, Elijah also said Armageddon was going to take place in the 1970s. I'm not taking away anything from Elijah, but he was not a prophet. He was a messenger. And Master Muhammad left him a lot of books to read. So if he left him out books to read, that by definition means he didn't tell him everything. If he did, he wouldn't need to read any more books, would he? And then what he got out of the books is an interpretation of what he thought the books were saying. He had to interpret them. He wasn't a god. He wasn't a scientist, just a messenger. And even in the lesson says he didn't get them all right. In front of he taught by the God, and the God taught him, and even with God teaching right there, he still didn't get all the lessons right. It says it right there. So don't give me that bullshit. Keep on. See, because you're going to deal with reality. You deal with reality now, you don't know it. But you're going to face to face, right, with a brick wall in a minute. And if you find this brick wall will not bend, it will not break, right? See? But it's going to break you. It says this stone, if it falls on you, it's going to crush you. But if you fall on it, it's going to break you. Because you don't know what the hell you talk about. You guessing, or this means this means that. You don't know. And the point is, that's what, if you didn't know, that's not a problem. You don't know, but you say, hey, I don't know, I think this would means this. Then you're good to go. Nobody can blame me saying that's my opinion. But when you get like stupid ass Ishmael and you get time, hey man, this means like that. He know, and he know he don't know, you know he guessing, then he's a liar. Farrakhan too, he guessing. If he knew that Abraham had covenant, why is he walking around with a damn mask on? I didn't wear no mask unless I had to go in the place. He told my head put on. See? I put on because they forced to put on. He tell you, wear a mask. Why? If you're on Abraham covenant, says it was 1619 to 2019, 40 years, and then a plague, first of 10 plagues would be killed the firstborn, that means elderly, and pass over us. That means if he would treat Abraham, we shouldn't worry about it. We gotta get sick, but it won't kill us. So for why Farrakhan, you control us, why you wear the mask? Because you're a demon, number one. Second, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So I want you to understand that, brothers. The scriptures are designed to give you, that's why they reveal at a certain period of time. Why did they reveal the whole thing at one time? They reveal at a certain period of time because you need those scriptures to get you through that period of time that's revealed. And it said angel will not be revealed until the last days, and Daniel will not be revealed until the last day, because that was the books you need to get through it. And it says only one person will be able to break those seals, so that you make sure it wasn't tampered with anything else, so it'll be perfect. So because it's your mind, the software you need to get through this kind of unprecedented trouble. That's why it's an unprecedented book. Both of them, Daniel and Revelation, all the books in the past were never sealed. Only this book was sealed. Because the unprecedented time, be an unprecedented person to break all that wisdom. So you wouldn't go wrong. That's your salvation. Now it's about faith. They talk about faith. Well, yeah, there's a certain amount of faith. But see, they talk about belief, not faith. Faith is tied to knowledge. Belief is tied to nothing. Like you could believe, right, that the sun might not come tomorrow. You can believe, right, that you can jump off the roof and sail. Or you can believe that you can wake up in the morning and be a pot of gold, right? You can believe all that stuff. That's the kind of faith they talk about. Well, Jesus is going to do this for me. Jesus is going to do that for me, right? He's going to heal. That's the kind of, because there's no proof to that. See? So we all live by faith. All of us live by faith. Because when you put that pot on the stove, you put fire, you don't know for a fact that it's going to boil. But you know from your history, from knowledge, right? From facts, that it's going to boil. See, that's faith. So we know from scripture, right? And we know by studying scripture and we see it unfolding that we can be confident that what it's saying is true. That's faith. But we don't know for a fact unless all we know is that we know, right, from because there's truth and there's fact stuff that backs it up. That's what faith is. See? It's like Elijah coming, our deliverance one day. See, well, we know we have a history of God saying something, and we know that he does it without fail. He keeps his word. So therefore, when they gave Abraham his word, Abraham didn't question it because he knew that if God said it was going to happen. Why? Because he had a history of saying it and doing what he said he was going to do. Absolutely. No ifs, ands, about it. That's why God always makes sure his word is bond no matter what. And we're taught in the Nation of Islam, your word is bond and bond is life, and you give your life for your word should fail. That means you don't BS around. When you say something, you do it. You make no excuses, because then you're undependable. Nobody depends. You don't want nobody in battle with you that's undependable. That's not dependable. Or when that guy excuse, oh man, this happened to me. You don't want nobody to battle with you behind when you got your back like that. That's why I say how Suleiman will come, man. Because he said, first of all, he ain't gonna take no excuses. Elijah Muhammad told you, there's no excuses in the law books of Islam. They didn't accept no excuses when I was with Elijah in 1970, 75. They didn't skip no excuses. You sold 300 papers a day, period. 300 a week. Then they didn't want about $2.99. Well, your ass was out of there. No excuses. Gods don't make excuses. That's for children. See? So if your word is not bond, nobody can trust you. Word is bond, and bond is life, right? And we give your word. If you give your life for your word, will fail. We'll drill that into us. And I've lived by that all my life, even before I made Elijah Muhammad. So we have to understand those things, brothers and sisters. And that's why myself, right? I have 100% confidence in the scriptures. I never met Master Muhammad. I'm not under Master Muhammad's authority, right? See? But he's the God of this 6,000-year period. He's the Lord of Dawn. Master Dr. Yaqub was the Lord God of the 6,000-year previous period. That's over now. We're in the springtime. We Master Muhammad's period. He's the one that's going to receive the kingdom from the one sitting on the throne, and it's going to be everlasting kingdom. So who's sitting on the throne with woolly hair? Who is Master Muhammad receiving the kingdom from? This Ancient of Days with nappy hair. Who is receiving this kingdom? See, you better read this stuff. Keep letting these people talk. Because the point is, when you enter into the judgment, and you're going to enter the judgment, unless you want the original people that haven't heard this message, but you're going to enter the judgment, you're going to be asked, did you read that? Or you're going to say, oh man, preacher told, okay. The preacher can't carry your ass. He can't take your whooping for you. See? Oh, the preacher told me, can you read? Yes. Then why didn't you read that? Why didn't you read it? Why didn't you read it? See? So you're going to put your trust in these folks? Because they tell you that God spoke to them? See? Well, tell God to put money in that basket for them. They tell you to pray for money. Why don't they pray for it? So I'm just letting you know, brothers and sisters, you need the software for this time. The software is Angel. You can upload it or not. The seal's been broken. It's been proven. I walked with somebody, this morning, they want to argue. I said, I don't argue, brother. I said, like me arguing about what my name is. You tell my name is, I'm going to argue with you about it. I just tell you. He wants to get an argument. I don't argue about it. I'm just telling you a fact. You can deal or not. I told him, I said, first of all, I put everything online anyway because I'm totally confident that my understanding of what I've been studying for 30 years is correct. And I'm telling him that this war is going to start within the next 90 days. I think much sooner. I think it's going to start next month, actually. Right? See? The war in the Middle East. So I said, brother, I ain't got to argue with you. I said, we can case closed. I said, because if it don't happen within 90 days, I don't know what I'm talking about, so don't listen to Brother Suleiman no more. That's pretty clear. I tell everybody, listen to me right now. If this doesn't happen in the next 9 days, I'm saying, then I'll close shop. And you go listen to Farrakhan, whoever you want to talk to. I'll close shop. See? Because I'm totally confident, right? My faith is absolute. Because so far, everything the angel ever said, everything the Bible ever said, I studied was absolutely right. I sacrificed my military career looking for Elijah just based on script. That's before I even knew anything about Native Islam. Before I knew anything about Malcolm and all that kind. I knew anything about none of that stuff. I went to the military at 17 years old. I didn't know nothing about none of that. 1966. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. I left before all that stuff went down. I'm over in Jefferson Place. I'm a hill on top of a hill, way isolated place called Wild Flicking. Wild place. It was the way out. It was a concentration camp or something during the war. I didn't know about anything. 17 years old, what I know about anything. I know about science stuff because I used to study it. I spent time in the library. I used to love to study science and stuff, mathematics. But I know about current events, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm over in Vietnam a couple of years later, and I was in the Bible. I was into the Bible reading it. And I read about Elijah and Malachi. I said, hey, man, this guy must resist right here, right now. He must be around right now. I'm a sergeant. Got 3 years behind me almost? At that time? See, that's since 1970. That's 4 years I had behind me then. Almost 4 years. Yeah. 4 years. Because I went to Vietnam twice. That's right. I was 21 when I got my ex. I left Vietnam. I gave clothes, walked away from all that, looking for Elijah, because I was confident, based on my study of the Bible, even the limited study I had at that time, that this person existed. He was standing for our people, right? And I was always for my people, no matter how, even when I was dumb out there with these ignorant, like these white folks had us, I still had a sense for my people. And I said, I want to find this man. So I gave up everything. I went AWOL. After without leave, they can put you in jail for that. I was sorry they gave it all up. See, because I went in the military to get away from Newark. See, get away from all that. See, because I ain't had no parents, I had nothing. I'm trying to do something for myself. I made that investment. I was going to come out, go to college, right? I was going to take it. I was paying down on the porch. They had a special program to pay on the porch, right? I was coming back hard. I was going to get all the ladies. See, I love females. See, I was coming back hard, and then I ran that. I dropped it off for that. They could have put me in jail, caught me, put me in jail for 4 or 5, 11 months or whatever. They could do all kinds of stuff to me. I didn't care. Because I saw that, and I went for it. And I left, I got back. First, I went, I don't want to go to the story. I'm going to get to my prop subject here. First, you know, I took a vacation to Hawaii. That's how I did it. You know, I took R&R Hawaii. Because, you know, you can take R&R, right? So I had R&R coming up, breast and recuperation. I took it to Hawaii. Because if I took it any place else, I couldn't get back to the States because I needed a passport or something, right? Like Hawaii, that's States, right? So I got there and then caught me a plane back to California. And I heard about the Black Panthers, so I thought he must be a part of that. So I went over there and met them. I was there in Fillmore District, right? Because I met some guys that they wouldn't let me come out and Cincinnati to check me out. I stayed about a week. Then they finally took me out to Oakland where he was supposed to be, but Bobby Seale, because Newton was in jail, I believe. So Bobby Seale was out there, and this guy named Hubbard, something like that. I forget what his name was. He was supposed to be the force or whatever. I can't remember what his name is now. Then in the backyard eating pork. I had stopped eating pork because it said in the Bible. I stopped. I knew there's something wrong with this because I don't think you'd be eating pork, right? It's a long story, right? They back there getting high and everything else, right? I ain't knocking that, but when I was in Vietnam, I smoked. I smoked a lot. I didn't know any better. I wish I never done it. But everybody was doing it. It made me feel good. I did it. I stopped after I got back. I got out there and they had me back. They jacked me up. Somebody, man, you must be a agent, all this kind of stuff. I said, hey, brother, what's going on with you, man? I just come back here. I'm going to work with you, brothers, right? So they finally backed off. Bobby still sitting over there on the porch, still getting high, right? And David Hilliard, I think his name was. David Hilliard, something like that. And then they said, okay, brother, we got to check you out, man. We got a lot of problems here, you know. What we're going to do is we're going to take and you sell our papers. You guys said, we check you out. If you check out, we bring you on in, right? I said, well, good, because I was in the backyard, right? I said, yeah, bro. All right, sounds good to me. I got outside the alleyway, got back. Y'all never see me no more, right? And I left, went back, and it was kind of weird because I run out of money messing around, and I was staying in a hotel. I have enough money to get back to New Jersey. See, and I had a little girlfriend that I had at that time, right? My mother was really nice to me, right? Because she would send me stuff when I was in Vietnam. I mean, she was the only person I ever had a connection with, you know. And I ran out of money, and I didn't know how to. I was running out of money, so I'm laying at the hotel trying to figure out how. Well, I'm gonna get back home, get back to New Jersey. I had no money, nothing. So I went to sleep. Right, I woke up and I dreamed my girlfriend's phone number. I had forgot it. I dreamed it, and I called her right away. Sent me money. I was back in Newark, and I got back in Newark. I ran this brother from California. That's the only brother I ever met in California. He moved over there just before I went to the military. He moved into New Jersey. It was weird. I always thought the California people was kind of, you know. And he told me, brother, I was telling about what I was doing. He said, man, you sound like one of the Muslims. And they kept telling me all the time, I didn't know what a Muslim was, right? I said, they against white folks, I must be one of them, right? I said, why people keep telling me? I said, what are you talking about? He said, you sound like one of the Muslims, right? Because I was, so he told me what's happening. He told me, why don't you go down there 25? So I used to live right around the corner from the place. My father took me there one time before he passed, right? Because he was converting, I didn't know it. So long story short, when I get up in there, I don't get in, they wouldn't let me in. I come in with a fro, big old dashiki. I had bell bombs, I was laid out, man. I was Afro down, right? I knocked the door, it must have been off day because the brother opened the door, but he wouldn't let me in. And they said, "But you, you got to come back on Friday or something, right?" But said, "You can't come look like that." So what's wrong with this, man? I'm Afro down, man. Brothers. Okay, I've got to get in there because people can tell me, I got to get in there if I was going in. So I went, man, man, I want me a nice, I got me some money, got me a nice suit, right? And I was clean, right? And I walked up there and, brother, what happened to you? So he let me in. I sat down. I was down about 5, 10 minutes. His brother came, wasn't Mr. James Shabbat, it was some younger brother, right? And first thing he said was, God's the man. Man, it was like waves, ocean flew right through me because I always believe that. I tell people that people thought I was crazy. And they said that. I knew I started processing. I forgot all about life and how many everything else. I said, I got to be a part of this, right? So that was August. So by August 21st, I got my X. And they said, nobody's got an X as fast as that. They said, nobody's ever got an X as fast as I did, right? I processed. And that's when I realized in the process, a person called Elijah was running this whole thing. I mean, kind of like, I don't know why I didn't catch it at first. It didn't dawn on me because I was so anxious to get involved. I didn't find out, hey, that's what I'm looking for. So I asked Mr. James Biles, where is he? He says he's in Chicago. I'm thinking this is a church, right? So I'm going, he wouldn't let me go. He told me, you got to travel. I said, man, brother, I'm going out there. So he kept on, trying to talk me out of it, right? And most of the people in there I knew because I grew up with him. I told him, he was right on the corner of the place. So he finally, that's when I went to Chicago in 1970. That's why I stayed until the master passed. So he departed. So that's the story of me. So I'm just saying that to say, I had so much confidence in that Bible then, and I had very little knowledge of it, and I had no knowledge of Islam, no knowledge of Master Muhammad, no knowledge of any stuff that I was talking about. And I had so much confidence then, I gave up my whole life in jeopardy, right? Everything I had worked for 4 years and everything, based on just a passion in the Bible. And I try to be absolutely right. So I'm just letting you know. See, I had faith. See, but I had faith, and my faith wasn't even that strong then because I had some stuff I could see in the Bible that I see that that followed up, right? I mean, that made sense to me. I saw connections. But now, what I have now, I mean, it's no doubt in my mind. So I just thought I'd say that. I didn't mean to go there, bro. So let's move on to our subject here. Okay, race to Armageddon. Now we see all this stuff that's going on, brothers and sisters. I mean, how could you miss it? They practically telling you they're going to be a nuclear war in a couple more days. You got people saying that. You got people saying they're going to be a nuclear war for the end of the year. They tell you they're going to be starving in a few more days. They say you're going to have food shortages. They said the inflation is going to be 2 or 3 times. They say gas price already over $5, $6. I think in California, $6, $7 a gallon. They said by August, right? They said it's probably going to be on $5, $6, $7 a gallon here. I told this whole place falling apart. See? Now, Brown said, well, I told you, unraveling America. Go back and look at that. Look at that thing 2 years ago. He talked about it. First of all, he lied about COVID. He said, oh, nobody knew about it until April. Well, if anybody knew about it until after February, well, why didn't you tell people if you knew about it? Then if you said, well, they didn't know it was a pandemic till March. Okay, well, now how come you tell me the pandemic coming in March? You're a prophet. People knew about it in January. I was talking about, I was talking about it in January. So how come, but he said, well, they didn't officially declare it. She's trying to get away from it. See? Because he don't know anything, but he used to watch CNN. And then he didn't speak. Then he never talked about the unraveling. He said that was his topic, but that was his headline, but he never mentioned one word about unraveling, what the unraveling mean. He has head up Kobe's butt the whole time. Right? So, I've been telling this 30 years, and I got to prove it. You can look at my archives. I'll give it my archives like he does. But all this stuff happened, and it's coming to a head. And I call it race to Armageddon because the reason I call that, because they're trying to say that the war in Europe is going to blow up into a nuclear war. It's going to blow into World War III. And I said, no, that's not what Scripture says. I'm going with the Scripture. The Scripture says, angel says, no, it's going to be the war in the Middle East, the war in heaven with Michael's angels against the dragon's angels. But they don't know who Michael's angels are. They don't know the dragon angels, so they can't comment on that. They have no idea what it is. The dragon, the media, they have no idea. What's the media? What's the 7 heads, 10 horns mean? What the crowns, those heads mean? Explain all of that. They can't. I explain it all of it, every bit of it, down to toenails. Okay. So the race is because I'm saying what Scripture say. Let me keep talking. I'm saying the war and it says the silence is supposed to be over. Based on my calculations, it's over at the end of this month. No later, definitely by next month. That's my calculation. And as soon as it happens, the war breaks out, and that's going to happen in the Middle East because false Israel goes against Iran. Actually, it says Master Muhammad, who Michael, saying they're going to make the first move. They're going to preempt because they're preparing to attack Iran right now. They already tell you. They said the JCPOA is dead. JCPOA is dead. If it's dead, they said they have no option. But that's what America said. The only option they have is attack Iran. And false Israel was already planning right now. Right now planning. Right, they're doing exercise and everything else to do it. They made it public. They allocated $2 billion just to do it. This is public. They ain't hidden stuff. So I'm saying that's why race Armageddon, because that's what's going to happen first. And that's when trigger Armageddon, which Armageddon is a European war, so-called World War III. It's a European war. So we isolate to Europe. We'll talk about that a little later. Race Armageddon. And see, right now, most of you in the eye of the hurricane. That's where they want you. Because they want you to realize the hurricane is going on. And it's all about you. So you sitting around here playing around, getting high, vaping, watch NBA, all that kind of stuff, right? Because we think it was cool. When all around you, they tell you inflation is going through the roof, right? Everything is blowing up in their face. The whole economy is blowing up. The economy is crashing. Military is crashing. The politics is crashing. Everything is crashing all around you. But you're in the eye of the hurricane, so you say, hey, man, you think you cool. I'm laying back. But then hurricane moves and it's going to tear your ass up. See, the only hope you got right now, and you don't have that hope because you don't realize it. The only hope you got is that Master Muhammad is getting ready to make that war over there. When they make that war, it's going to short circuit your programming. No, I said Negro butt programming. Just in time for you to see the hurricane move. Get your ass out of here. Said Michael, at a time of unprecedented trouble, he will stand up and deliver you. Said, but since some didn't wake up until the hurricane moved. Says, then men slept in the dust, then they woke up. So they had to go through the hurricane. We're trying to get you out of here before the hurricane hits, bro, before it moves. We're trying to get you out of here, wake you up, and get the hell you out of here. That's what we're doing. I've been doing 30 years. I'm non-stop. I could have been millionaire many times over if I kept doing what I was doing, because I was buying some house, I was living in many mansions. I gave all up to get this message to you. And I asked you for a dime. So let these assholes keep telling you all this stuff they talk about. I ain't asked for a dime. Farrakhan asked for money for all years, he enriched himself. He didn't produce anything. Where's the economic program? I said a free gift. It's really not a gift, bro, because you already earned it. But they call it that in the scripture, a free gift. And I'm not paying for anything. You already paid the price to get the hell out of here. The promised land is already yours. But if you don't want the ticket, then fine, that's on you. We're not going to beg you. We're not going to try to convince you. We're telling you key information. You either use it or you don't. That's up to you. Nobody's asked you to do anything. Those people that work with me, I don't tell them to do anything. Nobody's telling you to do anything. Right? We're just giving you information to save your ass. Because you already paid the price. And God said he would come with the information. He raised a messenger, and then the messenger would pave the way for the messenger of the covenant to come and tell you about the covenant, clean the thing up, and get your ass out of here. Joshua, get your ass out of here. But he ain't going to force you to go. The only one going to get extra help with these sisters out here. And that's not even in the scripture. I'm just doing that. See, because my heart breaks when I talk about these sisters because they went through hell. And nobody said anything about that. I mean, the scriptures characterize them, this is still scripture. They the beast and they cause sin and all this kind of, that's bullshit. These sisters was warriors. They are warriors. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be around now because the master of him, we'd all be demons because he was screwing all of them, wouldn't have one, and didn't want to touch our own women. He's raping them all. He says, go through all that. Then he had to put up with us because we had nobody to fight back. We couldn't fight back, master. We beat them up. So yeah, I'm going to stand up these sisters. I'm going to go extra mile with them. If they raise a hand, I'm poor. But you brothers, you ain't getting that. Right? You better stand on your own. But his sisters, yes. That's my call. It's not in the scripture. It's my call. I'm the judge. And sister, her pathway to paradise is already paved with gold. Only way she can mess up, walk up there with a devil, or you know, it's your demon, right? A demon sister, right? Well, she ain't a sister, but she had a better chance of getting some of you brothers if she willing to obey the laws, rules, and laws and stuff, right? But I'm telling you, right? I'm not gonna be down with these sisters. If anybody be down, it'll be me, because I've had nothing but hell with these sisters since the very beginning. I mean, but I'm a difficult person anyway, so I'm not blaming them. I'm difficult. I'm difficult for anybody. Everybody knows I'm difficult. I don't put up with any shit, and I'm not, you know, I ain't in the hot zone. So I know I'm difficult. So if anybody can be a champ for these sisters, it should be somebody like me, right? Because I've had nothing but trouble, and I'll just praise. I don't say nothing bad about them. Because they're the reason we're here, and we're supposed to take care of them. We're supposed to get security to them, and we didn't do it. And we blame a lot of that on Massa, but some of us too, because we was told to submit to Adam. We weren't told to kiss his ass. We weren't told to be oppressed, no, submit to his oppression. Some of us did, and some of us gave our lives. Some of us did. Some brothers gave their lives. Stand for these sisters. Some brothers did, and I'm one of them. So you step up there in the judgment, come high, and you got a sister accusing you. I mean, not bullshit. We're gonna check it out. If you treat them like that, and you ain't got that straight before you got here, apologize, got that straight, made up, whatever. Don't even show up, brother. Don't even show up. Okay, let's move on, brothers and sisters. So that's the race to Armageddon. So right now, what's happening so fast? Armageddon is a European war. The European war. War between Europeans, as the Quran says, we let some of them surge against others. Tells you that. Gog and Magog. Okay, let's move on. Okay, the power matrix. Now we're going to talk a little bit about economy and money here. So I talked about it the other day. I'm trying to, reduce it. Right, because I might not made as clear as I wanted to. Maybe I'm not going to probably do the same thing today, right? However, I'm going to try to explain in general terms, but as clear as possible, simple terms, how the economy, right, is so powerful, and what's driving, and it's driving, what's driving what's going on right now, what's driving it. Okay, so let's go. Okay, money. See, money, you understand money? See, money, you think money, no, money is something that they created. And it's a powerful weapon. It's an illusion, but it's a powerful weapon. See? Very powerful. Because as the Bible says, they wasn't patient with God's, every word that comes out of, say, you don't live by bread alone, but every word that comes out of the mouth of God. See, what are they talking about mathematics and the energy, because the universe expands. See, the Bible comes with this kind of stuff. Universe expands, contracts. So that's in contraction mode. When it's expansion mode, it got to all the energy that used to be here was out there, to the point where we saw energy deprivation, 50,000 energy deprivation, because we had less energy than we need to maintain civilization and maintain ourselves and everything else. And the last 600 years was very acute, so we lost total control of ourselves and everything else. But now it's coming back. Right? So it says they wasn't patient with the energy, that kind of energy, right? The natural energy from God, so to speak, right? So they create their own energy, which is money. They tell you this is real energy. See, in other words, because we get some, everybody, see, energy is like air. Everybody gets the same amount, same access to it. That's a true energy, because God is just. Mathematics is just. See, with money, they can manipulate that process. They can say one person has more than another person, and then who have more control of the other person. It's a false control. But it happens because you don't understand what the process is. So therefore, because remember, you don't have the right mind. Once you get your right mind, you can destroy this process. Elijah Muhammad, with the mind he had, he was destroying that process. That's why I had to get rid of him. See? He was destroying that process. You see? Because he was taking control. He was teaching people how they didn't understand the math behind what he was doing, right? But they just followed what he did, right? They was breaking that cycle. That electronic cycle I talked about and everything, right? So that's what money is. It's their form of energy. So in other words, it's a false energy, but it's their form, and they think that's why I said money is the root of all evil. Well, it says the love of money is the root of all evil. See, it's not money itself, it's the love of it. That's the illusion part of it. They gotta make you love it. Then they don't say the whole story. It says the love of money, root of all evil. They gotta make you love it, then it becomes the root of the evil. Not money itself is not evil in itself, right? It's just paper something, but you have to have a connection to it somehow. So it's their form of energy, and they created, which makes them a god, because God is power and force, like Elijah Muhammad taught you. So whoever controls the energy is the God. Whoever controls the energy is the God. Whoever controls the energy is the God. So now they're telling you that that's where your energy comes from, so they're the God. They made themselves the God. Say Satan is the God of this world. So they created money. So now they say you, and so they created money, right? And so therefore you have to use money to live. So if you don't have money, you can't live. And who controls the money? See what I'm saying? You understand? Get it? But see, the way they used to do it, and you got even Rick and all the people. I mean, I watched this thing today, Rick or True News, whatever. He's talking about they need to get back to gold standard. It's like somebody said he's watching my videos, and he must have. He's talking about it today. But I mean, okay, whatever. Anyway, they had it based on gold, which was it wasn't a sound reason, but it was powerful, and that's why they was invading countries taking their gold, so they can, because they had to control all the gold for this to make sense. Because otherwise, if you was on an island someplace, then you found out an island, a mountain, volcano, and mountain blew up and was full of gold, they all said you was the most powerful person in the world because you had more gold than anybody else. That's why Rome and all these countries, Greek, was going to invading other countries, taking their gold, not just gold, but that was one thing they were taking. And that's why they went all over, Europeans went all over the country, all over the world, taking everybody's gold. They came here, get married, look for gold. El Dorado, what they call it, El Dorado, right? City of Gold, I think that's what it means in Spanish. The Spanish kept telling them, I mean, the natives figured out what they was doing. They just say, well, it's further west to get them off their back. So they went all the way looking for gold because that was their standards basing their money off of. I'm going to show you how that works in a minute. See? But that's how it was. In other words, you had much gold, and then sometime in the Romans, they would actually make gold coins. So you really had real gold. See? And then when they ran out, but I guess it's more complicated inflation kind of stuff. When they ran out of gold, they still needed money. Then they gave you gold-plated coins. So it wasn't real gold, but it's still supposed to be it's worth as much as gold. That's what they say, right? But it was really inflation, whatever. That's their form of inflation and stuff. So they had the all European economy, right, in the last 600 years, right, based on gold. See, their money was based on gold. How much gold they had. Who had the most gold had the most money. Whoever had the most gold had the most money. So therefore, they would make sure they had the most gold, and if another country had more gold, then they invade the country, take their gold. So, you know what I'm saying? So that inspired more invasion stuff. See? Because what's inspiring it now? Oil and rare earth materials. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I want you to understand, we're on the gold standard. They stay on the gold standard until the time of Nixon. So money was based on the gold standard. In fact, if you go back old dollars, I think maybe more than 50, 60 years ago, I guess. Probably more than that, I don't know, before Nixon, I think. I'm not sure. But you would say on there that was worth so much silver or so much gold. Something like that, I don't remember. But it would tell you. But they took that off because it's not worth that anymore. They went off the gold standard. See? So you got money, but it's not. But what is it tied to? It has to be tied to something. Otherwise, you just print a lot of money. I mean, I can start printing money. It has to be tied to something. Like you got a check, has to be tied to money in the bank, where they say that's fraud, and they put your ass in jail. Maybe tied to something. So they had tied to gold. And so, and the thing is, gold was a precious metal. It was the most precious metal on the planet at the time, right? So everybody loved gold. So that was that's what gave it value, because people they desired gold. It was precious metal to them. Trying to use this system here. And then comes oil. Whole new idea. Whole new dynamic. Because like gold was just precious metal, inactive, just precious metal that people wanted to wear for necklaces and stuff like that, right? And in the agricultural age, it didn't have any industrial use, they didn't have any industry. So it was just precious. People looked at the door, they wanted it. So that's what gave it its value. Because people wanted it. It was precious. But oil was a different thing. So oil is the lifeblood of industrial reality. Lifeblood. It can't run without oil. Oil is the lifeblood of it. Like your body, without blood, you can't live. And that's without blood. This whole industry, the whole reality collapses. Their reality, this industrial reality. See, even AI is built off the industrial reality, right? So Nixon came along and his group decided, wait a minute, hold it. Let's tie money to oil, not gold. Because oil is used for everything. To drive your cars, to run your machines, right? For your electricity, right? Everything. You need oil for all of it, right? To make clothes and everything else, right? Some of it say you use for help fertilizer and stuff, using the net. Everything. People need it. If you want an industry, you need oil to run it. So who controls the oil controls you. See? So that's why Nixon, his policies, whether he came up with the idea, whatever, the bottom line is his administration says, let's do it that way. So they tied, right? They went off the gold standard until the oil standard, so-called petrodollar. See, now Roosevelt was doing something along those. He was moving that direction because he went to Saudi Arabia and got them right to commit to selling. In other words, it wasn't a petrodollar. What he did was they say you got to understand, House of Saud are not even Arabs, the Indians that the Europeans that in British put on the throne to guarantee that oil coming to America, cheap oil, and in turn they would protect them and control and guard and protect them, right, and secure that throne for them. In turn for cheap oil. Because remember, who had the most gold in the other situation was the most powerful. Who had the most cheapest oil, the most oil as the most powerful because they can have a bigger industry, they can do more industrial stuff, they have a bigger economy. See? So America was getting cheap oil from Saudi Arabia, everybody said pay a lot more money for it. I think like the Europeans, we talking about $5-6 gallon oil now. I think it was like that back there 20, 30, 40 years ago with them. I have to look and check, but that's what I've been told. So Nixon went off the gold standard, petrodollar. And so to make that work, they had to go to Saudi Arabia because Saudi Arabia at the time was the biggest oil producer. Remember, Sunnism is not based on the Quran, it's not based on prayer beads, it's not based on prayers, right? I mean, that's the ideology of it, right? But what fuels it is oil. Because if they had no oil over there, they would have no power, there'd be nothing, and they'd be run over. They can pray all they want. What's keeping them, sustaining them, and keeping them powerful over there is that access to oil. And they agree with the West. Because if the West, people have Saddam Hussein, when he turned on them and said he don't want no more of their dollars anymore, they got rid of him. And I saw the same thing. As long as they keep that agreement, they can control that oil and everything else. See? So it's oil that's fueling Sunnism. And I would talk a lot. I talk a lot about this, but I said I'm gonna spend 2 or 3 hours here, brothers and sisters. So once they did that, because they're the 666. See, that's another lie. They try 666. They try to lie. See, no, that's not somebody coming on the scene. So Antichrist. That's them. America. What's their power? You got America, Britain, and false Israel. 3 of them in that 666 thing. That's just 3. America, Britain, and false Israel. Right? America takes and give all lifeblood to false Israel. False Israel is image of Britain, because they copied the government whole cloth. That's why the image of it. Same government Britain have, right? But they get all their lifeblood from America, right? And America sanctions anybody that don't worship, that won't accept as false as right to exist. And they said their main weapon was sanctions. That's America. That's the main sanction. They just 666 that they blind you to. They just you take something on your arm or something, some tattoo. Come on. Anyway, so they got Saudi Arabia, right? That's why they call them the dragon, and they call America, Britain, and false Israel the angels, right? Because the dragon is the one that fuels them, gives them life. Because Saudi Arabia was able to cut that oil off and survive, that would break the economy of America. Well, not so much now, because now America found out oil here, they can dig it up. But it was crippling for a while. I don't know if some of you remember the 70s when Carter was there, when they froze the oil and whatever. America was, long line was crazy. See, that's why I call South thought, remember, because they're not Muslims anyway. They're Indians, pretend to be Muslim, right? But they give life to them. And they made America false than Britain powerful because they had they was getting cheaper energy. Everybody else was getting cheaper oil. So their economies grew faster. Their military, they need oil for military and everything else. So this is what happened. So like I said, they went on all standards. So now they had control, and now they could sanction people, because now that's part of how they got in the war with Japan, because Japan was an island country just like Britain, and they forced industry on Japan. I'm not going into stories about it, right? But Admiral Perry basically went over there and told them, you got to open up, because it was a xenophobic society. It means they wouldn't bother anybody from outside. They forced them to industrialize, but they had no natural resources. So they started going out, invading China. They don't say they had to fuel that machine. Everybody, you could see it was going to happen. Ray Charles could see that happening. And then when they get in that war, they said, okay, they embargoed Japan, but they couldn't get any oil. That means they were going to destroy their whole country. It was going to collapse it. And that's why they went to war. They knew they bait them. They broke them into that war. They wanted the excuse to get in the war with Germany. That's another story. Anyway, that's the idea of oil. So they control the whole. Everybody, the industrialized world can control it by controlling that flow of oil. And the unindustrialized world, right? Well, they control them because they can't build a military anything without oil. So they can just go and invade them, kick them around like they want to. You see the power of this? This increased America's power tenfold, because they came with a petrodollar. What's the petrodollar? That means only way you can buy oil from Saudi Arabia is with dollars, US dollars. That put ice on the cake. That's locked it in. That's called a petrodollar. See? So that means they control the oil, they control the currency, they get the oil. And of course, Saudi Arabia agreed to that. So that's the petrodollar. See? So I talked about this previously. I'm not going into all the detail. We'll be a couple of hours on detail talk about all day. So go look at what I talked about previously. I break it down. How they control the high idea is they control your economy, they control your military. Because they can tell they can break China's military unless China just want to go to war to stop them. How do they break it? See? Because if they stop the control of oil to China and say, okay, you can only get so much oil, and China have to decide how much oil I'm used for military, how much use for civilian population, but they can't let the civilian population starve or they'd be overthrown. So therefore they say give them just enough to supply the civilian, but they don't have enough for the military. That means they destroy the military machine. That's where Russia comes in at. See, Russia's the monkey wrench. See? If they get Russia, they can lock that in. Because Russia is the major oil producer in the world. Now next to Saudi Arabia, they say may have even more oil. See, Venezuela, right, is a contender, but they don't have the power, so they can say, because they get too uppity, they're just going to take them down before they can build military or anything else. See, because they got their economy under lock. See, so they don't have a military enough to withstand invasion. Because that's what they're doing in Syria right now. America's literally in Syria, troops on the ground. The Syrian army don't want them there. They're actually living on the ground and taking their oil. See? Because they don't want Syria to take that oil and build its economy and build its military. That's one of the reasons why they Iran. That's one of the reasons why we're in Iraq. Because they don't want them to build any kind of military, because if they build enough strong enough military, and they can sell them off whatever they want to sell it for. That messes up America's plan. See, because the whole idea, I'm not going into detail here, but the whole idea is, remember, they got this agreement with Saudi Arabia, but they found that Saudi Arabia, see, oil is not something that just grows. It's a limited amount. It comes from millions and millions of dollars, millions of years of organic material that's dead, and it converts in oil. So it's perishable. So that means after a while, all the oil will be gone. And right now, they estimate the oil in Saudi Arabia be going in about 20, 30 years. And they keep pumping at an accelerated rate. They're trying to get them pumping faster, because they know because first they said they're going to have communism. Once they broke communism, they thought, right, they both broke in Russia, they said, I'm going to Islam, Sunniism. And so what they want to do, they want Saudi Arabia to pump all out. They pump all out fast. That means they go down fast, because once it all runs out, nobody's going to buy that sand. Then they got their demons over there, right, in the population that wants to America. They want everything American and everything else. So once they quit down sand, got nothing, then they'll support those people, get them money and everything else. And that's when they take over Saudi Arabia. They're Christians. They're going to get rid of all that stuff over there. That's their plan. That's why he had been lying on those people. They knew the plan. They said, well, they got that money. No, where's the money at? The money's in American banks. Same thing with Iran. They already did to Iran. We hate Iran. You don't even know what the story is about Iran. Iran was a democracy 50-some years ago. It was democracy. In the 50s, not 50-some years ago. 50s was a democracy. See, but they had all that oil. And the British Petroleum, heard of them? BP, they went in there and had America go in and invade the country and take that oil and put a Shah on the throne that promised them to keep America free oil. See? And he was a dictator. They got rid of the Democrat, put dictator there so he can give them that oil, and they did it for like from the 50s to 79 when they disposed him. But where was the money? In American banks. Where's the money in Saudi Arabia? In American banks. That's why you had those people they call them terrorists trying to stop it, because they see what's going to happen. So what happened? They put in American bank, and then when the Shah was dethroned, he tried to come over here to get the money, right? Trillions of dollars, right? And they wouldn't let him in the country. But he was their ally. They wouldn't let him read it. They wouldn't let him in the country. He had got cancer, something. They disposed. They wouldn't let him in the country. So he went to Sadat back in Egypt, and he let him go in there and die over there in Egypt. He stepped in and let him die in peace of will with Egypt, because he was kicked out of Iran. And he goes down, and they kept their money. So in other words, they paid, how much they paid for that money, Iranian oil, for over 30, 50, 60 years, whatever, how much they paid? Zero. Because they got the oil and they got the money. And that's why the Iranians mad, because they got all their money. Wouldn't you be mad? But they don't tell you that part. And they say, well, man, remember, Obama gave them all that money for that JCP. That was their money he was giving back to them. A couple of $1 billion. If somebody stole $1 million, they give you $100 back. That's doing you something that you're going to be pleased with that. So you don't understand stuff going on. I said, man, yeah, man, they need to get the Iranians. You don't even know what the hell story you're talking about. These Negro butts, but they really get to you, don't they? But I even knock you, brothers, because we all was Negro butts. I was a Negro butt, right? But my program got short circuited quick. I'm trying to get yours short circuit. And Master Muhammad's going to short circuit yours to get your ass out of here. You're going to wake up in a minute. When that warp takes place, you're going to wake up. So that's the deal. That's the game. So in other words, once Saudi Arabia takes and oil runs out, right? All the money's over here invested in America. You don't get that money to those people. Oh man, y'all was oppressing women and all this kind of stuff, right? See? And so the prince over there, he's a younger guy. I mean, he's I say he's Indian. I think he kind of got a little understanding of things. So that's why he's trying to back off. Now he's trying to modernize, trying to treat women and everything right. They can use that excuse. They don't care to make up anything. Because they don't have banks and stuff over there. So all this money's over here. trillions of dollars over here investing here. They're gonna have the money and the oil. They ain't gonna pay nothing for it on the book. That's why America's doing a lot of stuff they're doing, because they see, you think they're bankrupt. America is bankrupt, right? But on the books, they bankrupt, but tell them they ain't. Because if you owe somebody $1 million, you got a big debt. You got a big debt, man. But what if you, right? What if you don't pay them? Then that debt goes away because you don't pay them. You say, I'm not going to pay you. We just think about Prince Philip or whatever from France, can't think what his name was. These Knights Templar, I'm kind of get a here. The Knights Templar, she's probably heard about the Knights Templar, right? They was like Crusader monks, right? They claimed they didn't deal with women and stuff. But it was Crusaders. They were like a powerful army. It was powerful back during the time, right? They was Crusaders. They were the most powerful. They was loyal to the Pope and like Crusader monks, right? And it was a lot of them. They was powerful. They the ones, the banking system as you know it today, generally they started checking, writing checks, that kind of stuff. They started that stuff because they had a lot of money. So the Prince of France, Prince Philip, whatever I think his name was, but it might have been King Philip, whatever. But he borrowed a lot of money from them. So France was in debt. It was in serious debt to the Knights Templar. So he called all the Knights Templar officials, called to have a big meeting to talk about this debt, right? Because France was in real bad debt. Because I tell you, they were gold standard and everything else. So once he got them there, right, he burned them all at the state. Burned them all at the state. They had to go underground. No more debt. See? Why do you think they're picking a fight with China? Because they owe China a lot of money. If they go to war with China and defeat them, they owe China a damn thing. You understand what's driving this stuff, brothers and sisters? They don't tell you what to do. So look, if you know you're going to kill this person, then you borrow all the money you can from them. Yeah, man, let me some more money. Let me 10,000, let me 100,000. You know you're going to wipe them out. So when you get all the money you get from it, you don't get no money, then you kill them, then you owe them nothing. So they borrow all this money from China because they don't feel like they're ever going to pay it back. They've been planning a war with China for the last 50 years. They knew they was going to be at war with China 50 years ago. You understand what's driving all this stuff? I want to speak directly to this oil thing. So, by controlling the petrodollar, that's it. They control your government. They control their militaries, because they control how much oil you get. So, you need oil for industry. You need oil for your military, but you can't let people starve while you're building your military, because then you're going to have a problem. I mean, you might try to do it, but then you still need those same people that you pissing off for your soldiers and stuff. Is there a problem here? Let's move on, brothers and sisters. See, there's quite a few things I want to cover here today. What is going on here? Okay. Now, we're still on this oil thing. Petrodollar. See? So now oil rules the world. It rules this reality. That's what oil is. That's what's driving all of this. Been to the pump lately? That's why he went up to gold stands. That was like a genius thing that Nixon did for control. It's an illusion, but it's powerful. Unless you get your mind back and you see through it. See? Petrodollar. That's why I got a little nervous, because House of Assad, they met with the Chinese, and they was thinking about going up to petrodollar and start using Chinese money, which would have been devastating. They want to get invaded. They do that. That's what Saddam Hussein did. That's what Gaddafi did. They said, we don't want your dollars anymore. That's what Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi did the same thing. Gaddafi did different. He said, we want gold payments. See, he wants real gold for, he didn't want that because he knew they control the dollars. He wanted really gold for the oil they was getting out in Libya. See, these are gold. Why are all the tax on gold countries? But you say, what about Afghanistan? See, that's precious metals. I'm not going to talk about it today. But they found they had precious. See, all this, that's the AI part. The AI, see, the industrial was foundation was oil, but the AI foundation is precious metals, precious materials. And that's why they went to Afghanistan, because Afghanistan, that's why they have a problem with China, because China don't have the oil, but they have called rare earths. They have a lot of rare earths. And so Afghanistan got a lot of it. They want control of it. See? And that would be, if they've got past this, if they got past the next few years, right, which they won't, right? The next big thing, the money would change from oil, it probably change, but it may change all the way to rare earth. But still might be, because remember, because oil is going to run out for a while. But rare earth is where they're going to the cyborg thing, this new in electronic age. That's why getting brain implants and all that kind of stuff. That's the age they're trying to move into. But you will not, you don't want to be a part of that. See? So then money be based on rare earth. But right, because they started moving that direction, because that's why they went to Afghanistan. They think went to Afghanistan for Bin Laden, like that's bullshit. They went there because of rare earths. And Africa has a lot of rare earths. A lot of it. They have more than any place in the world. That's why right now, their new frontier is to take Africa. That's why all these diseases come there, because they want to take Africa. Not like took America, they want to take Africa. The Chinese are all down there trying to do it right now. They're trying to take control of African countries down there right now, because that's the new frontier, because that's the wealthiest continent on the planet. For rare earth, where do you think all these diamonds coming from? When they win that give her a Rhodes Scholar, that Rhodes Scholar make Hitler look like a Boy Scout. He went there and beat those people, ripped them off, killed them, everything else. Rhodes, Cecil Rhodes. Because they had diamonds all over the beaches and stuff. People, they played with them. He said, what the hell? So they got all that. And now they got all these diamond mines. They got so many diamonds that they take those diamonds. There's so many diamonds out of Africa, and that's why they keep digging out. Because they don't need to dig out anymore. They're digging out because they're trying to control it, They don't want anybody else control it. They want the African control of it. So they take it, they put it over in New York, and they got these big rooms, these big old vaults, packed to the ceiling with diamonds. Because they keep bringing it over there. And the reason they do that, because there's so many of them, they're sold at, because remember, supply and demand, they sell them cheap. You can buy a diamond like that, they can make $5, $10, because there's so many, how much of it. So that's why they control it. They let so much out at a time to keep the prices very high. And they're getting all from Africa, mostly South Africa, but they're all over Africa. While you sitting around watching NBA, NFL, and all that dumb shit, right? These people are playing, because you have no place in that future. Only place you guys help to build it. See, then after you finish building, it's cut your throat. We don't need you anymore. Like Industrial Revolution, they need you no more. I mean, it's agricultural revolution, but now they got industrial slavery, and you don't even realize you're a slave. They got 10, 20 times, 30 times the wealth, right? They go out, they got plenty of room to live in. You living in a box, crowded neighborhood, neighbor right next door, right? They flush the toilet, right? And your water goes cold, right? They turn on the radio and you can't sleep. But you American. I love America. Listen to these damn demons. Again, so that's the petrodollar. Dollars, right? Dollars tied to oil. And when I talk in general, I talk about more specifically in the previous presentation, but this and see this is because now they tell you this is your form of energy. So if you forget about the energy you get naturally from God, they just it. And so money is the tool they use to make sure to seal this whole process, because you can't do anything. You can't barter. They got rid of bartering. Those you know bartering doesn't mean you got a horse you can trade it for a cow. No, you got to transfer the money. That means you got to have their money. And who controls how much money you get and where you get it from? See what I'm saying? Where you get your food and everything from. So that's how they control you. So now you got to go to work for them, and make more money for them, because they're not giving profit. By definition means exploitation. That means they got more out of you than they gave you. That's what profit is. That's slavery. And you have, oh man, I got to car. 9% of that car is what? To get back and forth to work. You're paying payments on it. By the time you finish paying off the car, it's no damn good anyway. Remember, you ever heard a thing called what do you call it? Planned obsolescence. See, that was the what's the word I'm gonna use? You think what I'm gonna use? But that was what the American companies were doing, right? Before Japanese took off in like 70s. Because the car was planned to last them more than 3 years. So they buy another one. Or I mean policy, that's what I'm gonna use. That was their policy, that's American policy. Look it up. Planned obsolescence. I ain't making stuff up. You can prove everything I said. And then when Japanese started selling the car, last 7, 11, 10, 11 years, because my wife, when I first met her, she has old raggedy car, everything. I got to use Nissan. And this was like right back in the 80s, I guess. That car lasts 11 years with no problem whatsoever. Anything like that. I was buying an American car there. I just got rid of them every 3 years. Because I knew it wouldn't last more than that. Planned obsolescence, that was their policy. And then the Japanese started making cars that last 10, 11, 12 years. That's how I took over the market. Now Detroit is starting to do a little better. All these games they play, brothers and sisters. See? So they use money for that because you have to have money to do anything. And they control the money. So they control you. Because now you got to work for them. You got to do what they tell you to do. So we're not free, we're still in their control. They use with money. See? And it's artificial because everybody has the same amount of energy. But they make things somebody has more energy than you. And so you control because they say, I'll give you $1 million, you do it. It's insidious. And Master Muhammad is going to break this cycle. Elijah Muhammad began to break this cycle. He showed you, he gave you a breaking this cycle grammar school. See? You're getting ready to go to college on this one. I'm doing a high school lesson on this. So again, petrodollar, cruise. That's how they put sanctions on people. See? By that. You can't sell oil. So you can't get money. If you want, because you can't, you can't sell for money because they control the money. They tell Iran you can't sell no oil. Because nobody's gonna buy the oil, right? See, and if they buy it, they have to pay. Right? They have to pay dollars. But who controls the dollars? See? So it's they embargo it, and they embargo both the person. They embargo the person embargo, and they get the person that they intentionally embargoing, and they get the people that would be on the other side of the bargaining thing. It says no, well you can't trade with dollars with them, so you can't sell the oil, and you can't get them dollars, or we're gonna embargo you, we'll control your dollars or whatever. Right? Then you got to go through American banks to do all this trading. So no, they stop it. That's what controls the system, money. See, but it's based on tied to oil. When it was gold, it was powerful, but oil, man, it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere because you need off everything. See what's going on right now. See, I'm going to that a little bit right now. I'll explain what's going on right now, right? Because this is going to lead to the war. Okay, let me try to explain inflation in inflation 101. They was on the gold standard, right? Say they had this much gold in Fort Knox, right? And they said, okay, $1's worth all that gold. So if you had $1, that's man, it was worth all that gold. You could buy a lot with it, for all that gold, right? So you got 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. You got 18 tons of gold, right? 18 bars of gold, whatever. $1's worth that. So then they come and say, well, they want to print some more money. So they do this. They print more money, so now these dollars are half as much, 9 bars of gold. That's inflation. Now, when you go to the store, you should give a guy $1 and you got 18 bars. You gave him $1, right? That was like 18 bars of gold, right? For a wash machine, so to speak, right? Now you go in and you give him one. He says, "Hey, holy man, I'm only gonna get 9 bars of gold out of that. I want my 18 bars of gold." So he tell you he raised his price to $2 now for his wash machine, double the price. See, that's what inflation. So that's why everything's going up. Oil and everything's going up. See, because they want to get the same amount of gold. If we talking gold now, it was getting before, but they print more money, so it's worth less. They want more money to make up for the difference. That's inflation. Inflation 101. Same thing. With $3, okay, now you got 1/3 of what it used to be. When it was 6 bars. So they raised prices. It was the wash machine cost $100. Then it went $200. Now it's $300. See? Because the price of money is less. They want the same amount of gold as they had before. So they got to raise their prices. That's the long and short of inflation. That's the way it works. See how it get worse. After a while, right? You're down to 1 bar. Then you're down to half a bar. That's inflation. So something that used to cost $1 now costs $100. That's inflation. That's happening in America right now. So when they print all this money they gave you a couple of years ago, that's why partly why you got inflation right now. Well, that money out there, you thought you was getting something, but now you're paying for it. So you're getting it all back now. So you're like, oh man, I'm getting all the free money. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna talk about something else here, but in 1 second, bonuses. I got somebody's trying to call me, so I'm gonna here. I have to take a small break here for the second bonuses, if you don't mind. Give me a minute. Right back. Okay, bonuses are back. Before we do this, let me just explain a couple things real quick. I'm going to tie this into what's going on now because the initial plan was to bankrupt Saudi Arabia by making them use oil. Because remember, a few months ago, they shut off all the oil. They shut off from Venezuela, right? They shut off all of Iran through sanctions, right? And then America closed out all this oil. So why would it do all that? Why would it do all that? Why would it shut down all this? America's got, they say maybe as much oil as Saudi Arabia, but why are they not pumping their oil? See? So the only opposing had was Russia. See? So then they started this fake war with Ukraine because that was supposed to force Russia's hand, stop and force people to stop using Russian oil. That mean then they went to Saudi Arabia and told Saudi Arabia, right, to pump more oil. Now go check it out. They wanted them to pump more oil to make up for the shortfall, right? And everybody else was they were shutting everybody else's oil down, and they was trying to shut Russia's oil down. See, now Europe, Western Europe, you got Eastern and Western Europe. Russia's so-called empire is Eastern Europe. France, Germany, those places, they're Western Europe. Now, Western Europe is dependent upon oil from the Middle East. Keep that in mind, right? And Russia. So that's where the two sources of oil is, the Middle East and Russia. Right? Not America, because they can't depend on America anyway, because America can't ship by plane, they have to ship by ships. It take a long time to get there, and that's supply and everything else. But from the Middle East, the ships were nearby, right? The tanks were nearby, right? So a lot of it. And plus, from Russia, they had like a pipeline. So they had a steady flow of oil. So then they started this big thing in Ukraine. So, and that effectively was starting to shut down Russian oil. And then they went and asked Saudi Arabia to pump more oil. They was trying to get them to pump oil out fast as possible. They were trying to bring down Sunnism. But the problem they had is that the European countries balked. Western Europe. See? Because Russia's threatening to cut off the oil from them. You see? And that means they would put on Middle Eastern oil. But the thing is that that wouldn't have been viable economically, just depending on them, because it was better flow from Russia. It was cheaper, and plus it was like pipeline coming right in. They had to depend on ships and all that kind of stuff, which they did with all the sanctions stuff that was going on with Iran, and Iran was and Saudi Arabia oil field was probably on attack from Iran because Iran knew what was going on. So they balked. Western Europe balked. So they had kind of changed their strategy somewhat. So they changed up how they changed the whole, they put down the back burner for something else. So Saudi Arabia, right? They want to tie, they're upset with Iran, they want to tie pushing their oil, because oil from Russia is going to be shut down if they keep on this stuff with Iran and Ukraine. That means they're going to depend upon European, Western oil. Saudi Arabian oil. But Saudi Arabia got a conflict with Iran, and they want them to attack Iran. And that's one of the conditions they put on, keep getting that oil from us. See what's going on here? So-called Abraham Accords, all that kind of stuff. Because they're trying to get rid of Iran, and they want the Western Union countries to do it. You understand, bro and sister? You see what's going on here? And then so Europeans said, well, man, we're gonna. So they said, we're gonna keep getting oil from Russia. They balked. See. Now I'm not sure what the rate they get it, but they still get it from Russia as far as I know. They will still get it from Russia, which messed up America's plans. So to please Saudi Arabia, they got to take out Iran. See? And they still got to stop Russia from pumping. So you got two hot spots going on. I ain't gonna talk about the hot spot over in Beijing, right? Taiwan. Hot spots going there. See, because Russia threatened nuclear war. False Israel is threatening to attack Iran. I mean, they're actually planning for it right now. They're preparing for it right now. And the JCPOA is dead. So therefore, America said if they don't come out of JCPOA, they're gonna have to go to war. So that's pretty much what the decision-making process right now is there. But the angel tells us what's going to happen is that they're going to try to take out Iran first. And that's what it says Michael's angels go to war with them first. It says, because they went to war broke out in heaven, and says they went to war with the dragon's angel, and they dragons fought back. That means they initiated the war. But it says he moved first. He made the first move. Master Muhammad makes the first move against them because he knows what they're getting ready to do. And follow this carefully. Now, during this time, right, we're right now, and we see everything's hitting the boiling point. And they already said they're definitely going to attack Iran because they have enough fish. They keep telling you they got enough nuclear material to make a bomb. But that means they're telling the whole public. Everybody's scared of Iran, so they get everybody warmed up, just like Saddam was saying, right? Got weapons of mass destructions. They've been telling everybody for years that Iran's only a month away from getting nuclear weapons right now. It's really urgent right now. So they're getting the population ready for it. So the war takes place, as the scriptures tell us. It says America and Britain is kicked out and false Israel is left abandoned and on the siege. Their nuclear arsenal is neutralized. That's lost altogether. And they know those planes. They tell you those those planes up there. They can't tell you. They say I can't tell you. So those planes, man. They tell you that they're real. So-called UFOs. They tell you they're real. They tell you they can wave them from some galaxy far, far away. No, there's Master Muhammad's planes. A lot of Muhammad taught you about that, right? Taught you about that 30 some years ago, right? Oh, no, 50, 60, 70 years ago, back in the 30s. They know where it's from. But it says Michael can be involved in that war. And Russia will be involved in that too, because they're allied to Iran. So they go to war and they get defeated. They got to explain how they got defeated. Because their whole military, according to India, their whole air force is going to disappear. Because mass bombs are going to take it out and disappear. But they can't explain it. They're going to say Russia's reason did it. See where this is going? But that had to control the Middle East. So now Russia, because they helped America, they got this thing called Article 5, that if any other country is attacked by another country, then all the other countries have to protect them, have to get involved in the fight. So that triggered Article 5, but now everybody's got to go against Russia. Because they help defeat America and Iran. That's the way it works. See? So now the Europeans, they obligated to NATO and all of them, they obligated, that's NATO, they obligated to help America go against Russia. But they totally depend upon Russian oil and the Middle East. But now they're not getting any Middle East oil anymore because Shia has turned it off because they was helping America try to defeat them, and they got defeated. America and Britain and forces got defeated along with their European allies, and so now they cut the oil off from them. So now they're between a rock and a hard place because they got no oil from the Middle East totally because the Shia controlled all, Iran, Syria controlled all of it, right? And they had no trouble with Russia because they had war with Russia. So their economy, like chapter 18, the economy collapses instantly, collapses. So that means their military collapses too. So now they have to get oil from, the only place to get oil from is from America. America can't give me oil, plus if they wanted to, they couldn't give it to them in a timely manner because they can't ship it, they can't ship by air, they have to ship by sea, and and the amount they would need, it'd be almost possible for America to do it. And plus, America would have to dig it out of the ground because they sealed up all their oil wells. So that puts Western Europe in a bind because the best case is that if America does supply it, was able to do it, it'd be months before they could give them any kind of oil that mean anything meaningful. That's just help their civilian. But still, America still demands that they help fight in the war. So whatever oil they have, they can help participate in this war. See? You understand what's going on? So what they do is, they turn on America and say, hell with that, man. They turn on America, help Russia, so they can continue to get oil. So Russia turns the spigot back on. That's what Sid Ninja says. The fourth of the earth, they'll be attacked by the kings of the earth. That means European countries, West is going to turn on them. So America's being a vice now. between East and Western Europe rather than Europe getting their ass kicked. See? Because they can't get any oil from Middle East, it's turned off. So now that's Armageddon. They'll fight each other. But what happens as a result of that? Now they tear each other apart. They tear their militaries apart. Their soldiers getting killed and everything else by tens of thousands because it's going to be a very devastating war. Not a nuclear war. It won't be a nuclear war. Mass probably not going to allow that. But they tear us apart. So who benefits? China and India. Because now they become a nuclear power. That's what it said. The dragon transferred this power to the beast. That means now the beast has the crowns on its horns. So now they're superpowers. And China hates America. Then it says in chapter 17, it says, they would hate the whore, talking about America, hate the harlot. It says God would inspire them to attack the harlot and take him out. That's that goat come across from the west, easterly, come across, feet not touching the ground, means come across the Pacific Ocean. Think about that. So how does it inspire them? Well, they depend upon Middle East oil totally. They depend on Russia to some extent, but Russia can't give it to them because Russia is fight, life and death fight. So if you don't want your economies to crash, you gotta attack our enemies. That's how I inspire them. So they come over here and they take down America. I just want you to understand what's going behind the bus. See, this stuff is just a mystery. They're just some angels doing things. Angel reveals everything. That's what's drove this society, and oil is going to bring it to its end. See, our society is not dependent upon oil. We never depend on oil. Because remember, it took millions of years for the oil to develop. If it was, we'd use it up. It wouldn't have been oil here now. Our reality will not depend on oil. Theirs do. So you live by the gun, you die by the gun. They live by oil, they're going to die by it. That's what's going to cause the destruction. So I think I'll leave that there, brothers and sisters. I'm going to talk about it, but I'm going to leave it there. So I'm going to talk about the shower of death. Now, these clowns on NMI Sunday, they're going to try to quote, they don't know what the hell they talk about. I mean, these people, they need to shut up. Like I said, if you don't know what you're saying, you shouldn't say anything. If somebody asks me something, look, people tell me they know me. If they ask me something I don't know, I just say, I don't know it. I'll look it up. I like to tell you something that I know that I don't know. That's stupid. I ain't trying to I'm trying to pretend I know something I don't know. That's how you learn. Because somebody tell you something you don't know, that means you look it up and find it, and then you learn something. Make up something. So we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this a little bit. I got a couple of things I want to talk about, and then we're going to. I know I've probably been over 2 hours already. It may be so long. Because this shit, fellas, is hitting the fan. Everybody knows. They're actually saying we're at war now, and they're true. There's truth to that. But it's about to boil. Okay. Was that 21st Psalm, whatever it is, 23rd Psalm, the rage I walked through the valley of the shadow of death? You know what they're talking about. That poem, right, is a poem to the Nation of Islam, Elijah Muhammad's Nation of Islam. See, now I'm going to give it a little explanation here. I'm not going to go a lot of detail here, right? It says, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Why do they say that stuff? It's poetic, right? See, okay. If you understand the scriptures, you have to get transliteral. King James Version, no good. It's poison, throw it away. When you get the transliteral and you get the best one, cheapest one I know about, best one, and it's accurate except for one little thing that Jehovah's stuff they keep throwing there because they don't know that's his real name. That's again, I'm not. Let me know. I'm gonna get sidetracked here. But you read transliteral. In transliteral, right? You found that death is not that fourth horse. It's the one above him. It says the one on top of him. So death represents Oriental country. See right here where I got, right? Where I got the Buddhist person there, right? That's death to Oriental countries. Right? Got Saudi Arabia, that's where the cow would be, that golden calf. I'm not going to talk like detail here. Okay, so that's death. They said, I walked through the valley. The valley is something between two fixtures, right? So see that black thing right there under the sun? That's a shadow. The shadow is caused with something blocking the sun. That thing blinking there, that's what's blocking the sun. Right? So it leaves a shadow, the shadow of death. See, so it's talking about the NOI. That's a poem for them. Yea, thou walk, because in the bottom, see the horns down there at the bottom of the horn, but that's between the valley. But it's also called the feet. Those of you study angel, that's the feet. That's why I said, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I fear no evil, but thou art with me. Who's with him? The Son is with him. That means this time when Suleiman will be there, when the war starts, he's going to NOI. He's the messenger of the covenant. He's going to come and clean up with full of soap. That's what it's all about. So yea, thou walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I fear no evil, because thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff. See there? The rod, iron rod, that's Master Muhammad. The Shia, his iron rod of iron. Thy rod and thy staff, they cover me. That's me. They just won the war. See, that's when he comes there. When that war breaks out and they win, when the war's going on, that's why it says in Exodus, it says, when they came back to the camp, Moses and Joshua came back to the camp with the sound of war, but it was not the sound of victory or defeat. That means when they enter back, return, it's at a time of war, but not a victory or defeat. So they haven't lost or won yet. And that's when he takes and goes in and cleans up and throw out all the demons. He separated all those people that were with Aaron and wipes them all out. 3,000. That's a whole another story together. But that's what it's talking about there. That's what that poem is about. Yea, thou walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, but thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they cover me. Right? And then somebody's covered my throat. That gets, no, I'm not going to show it here, but that means that when he moves up there and he's now the Lord, and because he's at the wars, because wars at the bottom means to flow over. Right? So those with injury knows what I'm talking about. I just want to point it out, brothers and sisters. Because they don't know what the hell they talk about. They talk stuff, they pull shit out their ass and call it honey. Well, I ain't buying it. I smell it from a distance. And once your eyes open, you see it too. Okay, we're going to talk about the Son of Man. Another one. They try to say Master Muhammad, son of man. No. Son of Man, Master Muhammad is David scripturally. He's the God of the king. He has a son called Solomon. See? Solomon will be the high priest. He'd be the king. You know, when it says, Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, and King of Kings, Lord of Lords, right? Okay. So, Son of Man is just a word play on Solomon. Son, Man. Solomon, son of man, that's where it comes from. I don't know how to say it means son of a man. Well, we're all sons of men, aren't we? Are we all sons of men? I mean, how can you ever be a son of a book? Okay. I guess if Jesus, right? So you understand the angel, right? Now the Europeans, they consider the West, right? After everything's called East, right? So see here, it says, and it says, when you see, it says, Son of Man, it says, as lightning strike from east even to the west. East even to the west. He did not smell. Said, Son of Man's going to come. He's going to come, and because he went and started teaching 104,000. Then he said he will come, and he's going to come to the NOI and clean it up. That's what it's talking about. See? Come, Son of Man. See that? Something's missing here. That's what it means. Some scriptures say, some scriptures say, not east, west, one end of heaven to the other end of heaven. Well, the Shia, they represent the mid heaven, that's what they call it in chapter 19, because they're between the earth and the heavens. So that means light from one end to the other. But I'm not sure. Well, maybe I had on the next page. Let me go to the next page. Maybe I'll see it. I messed it up. Oh, well. Somehow I got lost, brothers and sisters, so. But let me just say it. How did I miss that? Okay. See what it said, yellow horns right there? Oh, I do have it. I'm going to show it later. I'll bring it back later, brothers and sisters. And I'll place it up. Okay. It's in here. It's about the mystery of God. And Angela, what does that mean about mystery of God? What are they talking about that? Mystery of God. Okay, here we go. See, I show it here. See lightning. See, they also, that yellow was also called lightning. Symbols change between the chapters. All called the lightning. See, and the brown's called the thunders. All part of heaven. Oh, it's a down there. Okay. So that's what it means. It says, as the lightning striketh from the east into the west, because the lightning would be right where it striketh. That's the lightning point, just right. Light strikes to the earth, right? See, so that means the striking point would right there where NOI would be. See, that's where it meets the earth at. The lightning strike from the east even to the west. And talking about Suleiman's coming to, because all the things they say happen when the Son of Man comes, those things didn't happen when Master Mahamaim. Those things happen. So when the Son of Man, lightning strike, when the Son of Man comes, all these things that's going to happen, you read it. Those things happened back then. So they don't know. Elijah Muhammad was wrong on that one. See? That was his opinions. Okay, I ain't taking anything from the man, nothing. He did what he's supposed to do, and he did it perfectly. He worked with whatever he had to work with. He never said he broke the seals. Right? He commented on best he knew. Oh, let before I do that. See here, it said, the seventh angel. And I saw another angel strong, stepping out of heaven, having been thrown about a cloud, rained upon the head of him, and the face of him as the sun, feet him at pillars of fire, having in the hand of him little booklet having been opened up. Well, that's the one on top right there. That's the rainbow. I know you understand that, those don't understand the angel, but that's the rainbow up top there. See, and his rain, read right, his bundle was actually two words. Rainbow, right? And his left hand, right hand, left foot, right? So that's the seventh angel. That's the one stepping down. And for you that can't handle it, you're gonna find in a minute that's Obama, but then you'll find out in a minute. Oh boy. There's 11, got a beer. Okay, we'll see. And it reveals everything. Okay, here. And this is where we're preparing for war. JCOP, Trump's got rid of that. I'm just showing you sequence to where I want to get to. Preparing for war. The Shia is moving up against America, right? It was down below that. They was under the foot of nations. It was under UN control, and moving up, right? Preparing for war. This is when Suleiman, remember, said the lightning strike east to the west, and he shows up. The war, they defeat, he shows up. At the end of why he takes over. That's what it says when thrones are cast down, ancient days. Thrones are cast down because nation of Islam can be, Farrakhan's nation of Islam be thrown down from within, right? And they're going to invite Suleiman to come in. They're going to recognize him at that point. But anyway, we're thrown down within. Said then the age of days just set. He has hands like lamb's wool. That's not Master Muhammad. It's not Farrakhan. At the time the beast is being destroyed, and it says he raised up Lazarus because tens of millions are ministering to him. That's when he raised up Lazarus, and then he gives it all to Master Muhammad, who comes on the clouds. He's going to have the kingdom, the whole kingdom. He's going to build up a new a kingdom that will never be destroyed, giving another people. He's making all things new. That's Master Muhammad coming to the cross. So who is giving it to him? He says he's the one who's going to do that. So somebody's giving it to him. Somebody that's not under his authority, because if he's under authority, he would be giving it to him. See? Every time the mystery of God said it would be revealed right during this time right now. See? During this time right now, that mystery finally be revealed. Because they don't understand. See, you got 25 scientists. Each scientist at some point was a major scientist anyway. The 12 major, 12 minor. The 12 major signs, at some point in time, they control a season. A season is 6,000 years. We got 4 seasons every 20, 25,000 years to take the Earth complete cycle on its axis, right? So it takes, Dr. Yakub was the signs of God of the previous 6,000 years, the winter cycle, right? But Master Muhammad is the God of Thorn, so he's the God of this 6,000. He's the God, make no mistake, he's the God of the 6,000 year period. The God of spring. And then next 6,000 year be another one, right? The 25th scientist, he never ever does that. He stays in the background. That's how he stays, like Muhammad said, he stays hidden in triple darkness because he stays out of the public. He's like a hermit, he stays out of the public. He only comes, makes himself public during this period of time because they said nobody could, they said, who is like the beast? Who could make war with the beast? I always said, because who could break the seals? Who could make a beast? Like, only he could do it. He don't know way to break those seals. He's the only way to make war with this beast and take him down. He's the only one who could lift Lazarus. The other scientists wouldn't trust themselves to do it. So they pulled him out of seclusion to do it. And then once he has that, right, he gets all to Master Muhammad. He gets all back to him, then he go back to seclusion. See? They all know who he is, he know who he is, right? But the thing is that when they write history, once they got it, then they come and ask him he's certified. He looks at it and say, okay, because he got 360 degrees. He agrees, he don't very seldom have to change anything, right? He says, okay, he certifies it. But he stays in the background. See? Another reason it's coming out too, because these sisters. Because he's not going to allow these sisters, because they've been oppressed, he's going to allow anybody to take and continue that. No, they're going to be free, totally free to be themselves. And we're going to separate the kingdom into 2 sides. We're going to work together, female and male. So the male got a male system and a female system. You're not going to have males tell what females do, you have females tell the males what to do. And they own everything, and they share it together. But female, she shared with her husband. She got her own castle. She got her own mansion. He got his own property, whatever, right? At least a square mile land around it. We now be bung up and get all that kind of stuff. She has her. She wants to be engineer. She does engineering. She needs engineering. She calls assistant engineering. She needs architect. She calls assistant architect. Well, same thing, right? But they share, and their wealth depends on how much they put into it. Well, I don't mean sense of money. Everybody gets the same amount of energy. The quality of it. The quality changes. Because you can have $1 million shit farm, you can have $1 million gold mine, both words million. Depends on you, because you make your own paradise. You can make your own paradise. And the quality of it depends on you. Right? So you have a beautiful, fabulous mansion, or you have just a normal mansion. You still have a mansion. And not many mortgages and all that bull. We own the planet. The earth is ours, the fullness thereof. Mortgages and all that kind of stuff. Bills. Come on. All that stuff is history. But I'm here for the sisters. Make sure they get proper attention, proper reward. Because they was valiant. They were soldiers under the worst treatment in history, worse than us. They had to take all the stuff they did to us, and then they raped the women on top of that, and forced them to kill all that stuff. And then we was beating on them, we got mad because we couldn't beat on Master. No, I'm here for them too. Okay. 4 winds begin to blow. See, he put his foot up him to right, see, right, left. Why do you care about what anyone does? That's what's talking about. See? Because, see, with lightning, that's also called a sea. But down there with it, Rand, remember, they down there, the earth is under them. They took over that, right? See? So, say put 1 foot, left one is on the land, and one on the sea. Nobody, because Brown said, yeah, man, that's an angel, man. He can stand on the sea and the earth at the same time. Bullshit. Try it. That's what's talking about. Yes, angels know this. So it's talking about this stepping down. So let's go a little further. Then he cried out to voice great as even lion is roaring, and we cried out. Remember, because that's the red was actually represents lion too, right? He cried out, spoke seven thunders. Now I show you where thunders are, right? Now you only see the moon there. That's part of thunders too, but I'm leaving it there like that because I want to separate it. But the two moons, that's part of thunders, and the one and outside, right? That's one of the thunders. That's seven. So and under it would be the voice. Those stunned angels know what that means because it's like if you look at it as a face, that'll be the voice. If you look at it as a person right, that'll be the horse. That's the voice. So that's the voice that's speaking. And when and seven thunders spoke their voices. And when spoke the seven thunders, I was about to be writing, heard a voice out of heaven saying, seal what you spoke, seven thunders, that write them. Now you see the seal right there, the moon is? That's what John is. And that's the seven, the seven red ones. There's also seven seals. So what he's telling you is that two of the winds have already blown. Because they're in that position, they wouldn't be in that position. They're telling you, at this point in time, the winds have already blown. Because the four winds, two heaven, because the two winds still left. The left hand and the right hand, those are winds. But the left foot and the right foot, those are winds. That's the four winds. Two of them's already blown. See, that's what it's telling you. Because the timing thing you were talking about, the timing thing is going on here. I know I lost a lot of you, but I said, if you want to study angel, we have people that can teach it to you. Well, at least get you started. And then the angel whom I saw, having stood upon the sea, upon the earth, he left his hand the right into the heaven. See there, right hand, and left to he left his right hand to the heaven, and swore into that's what somebody did. And swore a living age who created heavens, earth and in it, and sea in it, the time will not yet be. That means time is over. European history is finally over. It's over. They're gone. The time the angel stops at that point. The time recording the angel stops at that point. Because the angel gives you a timeline, and that's at that point, that timeline ends. It's about time for a new book at that time. Not just quite, not just yet. Because when we get back home, the angel will be not relevant anymore. It'll be a new book. A new book would be given to us. Given to Master Muhammad anyway. So here it is, the mystery of God revealed. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, remember his voice, right? Whenever he made by the trumpet, so when is by the trumpet? See, he says, when was by the trumpet? He said it'd be by the trumpet, right? Just before that period, half an hour, that silence for half an hour. We're in that silence right now. That silence is like 6 months. And if you said 6 months started at the beginning of January, then it'd be in the end of June. So we're in that period right now. So that's when this will be revealed. Because then in the days, whenever the seventh be trumpeted, and with finished the mission of God, he declared as good news to himself, slaves and prophets. And the voice was heard out of heaven again speaking to me, saying, be you going to undertake a little book, have it open the book, well, that's another story. That gets back to the bitter. I'm not going into detail here. But that's what it said. So it'll be during this period of time that this mystery will be revealed. So what mystery? That's because that's the mystery of who's that person, the Ancient of Days. Who's that? Who's that Ancient of Days with the wool hair that's going to give the whole kingdom to Master Muhammad? So that will be revealed during this period of time right here. So they don't know. They have no idea what I'm talking about right now. And most of you don't either. See? Because they don't have any idea what they're talking about. They don't know nothing. See? But during this time, I have my reservation about that myself because, like I said, 16,000 years ago when I helped write this book, right, I thought it was a good idea to do this. I'm here right now, I'm not sure it was a good idea. So when we get it home and I get a chance to talk back to myself, I see why I thought that was a good idea to do this right now. Because on the scene, I'm not sure it was a good idea. Right? Well, I'm not going to second guess myself. See, I don't want to lose my foresight. You people know what I'm talking about. Right? I'm going to go and find out why the hell I thought it was a good idea to do this. Because I don't think right now, personally, I don't think it's a good idea. Okay, brothers and sisters, I think we're almost there. Okay, we wrap this up real quick, brothers and sisters. I already talked about this before, but they keep talking about this dragon stuff they have no idea what talking about. But I mentioned it earlier, so I'm going to talk about it right now. This is only this should take about a couple of minutes. The beast, the dragon. They tell you they don't know what a dragon is. Oh, the dragon's the media, the dragon's whatever, politics, whatever. Okay. Now when you read chapter 12, see there's the woman, right? She got a moon on her feet. Remember I told you the feet was the bottom two wings? So that demon, you know what? That's the feet of the woman. In her belly, right in the middle, she have a child. That's Master Muhammad. And she's giving birth to, originally she's giving birth to Master Muhammad because he's one of ours, right? And the top, she had on the crown, right? She had a crown of crown of golden stars, and she was clothed with the sun. That's the woman there. Remember, this is the angel key. And down at the bottom down there, right? That's the dragon, because it has 7 heads and 10 horns. See 10 horns there? There's the 7 heads, right? The European countries, the Shia are European, but they European on their maternal side. On the paternal side, they're like Master Muhammad. They're white on their maternal side, but they're black. The original, their paternal side. The top 2 wings of every nation is the original nation. They're all Muslim nation. Okay, so that's the 7 heads, European countries, right? And then they had in the middle, right? They say because he's wounded. The one in the middle is the Lord of God. So you say Master Muhammad is the God of the original nation, but it's been polluted because of rape and everything for 4 and some years. Half the blacks in America are demons, been polluted. That's why I call them demons, right? Half man, half devil. And then the dragon had a tail, red tail, right? There it is. That's the key. That's this whole thing right there. That's the dragon. That's the woman, right? The beast. So let's go. Let's take a little step further. See, so I showed the woman and the dragon. Remember, the dragon had 7 crowns upon his head. There's the 7 crowns. See, that means they had authority. Europeans control right now. They had authority over everything, right? There's a woman up there, right? And then what happened? I said they go to war. I'm not showing they actually going to war, but I'm just showing transfer. And then it says they worship dragon because he got, or they praise dragon, whatever, because he gave authority to the beast. That means, and the beast had what? He had 7 heads and horns too, but he had crowns upon his horns. That means it's going to shift the power from the European countries to China and India. That's death in Hades. That's the goat that's going to attack, right? There's a leopard. The goat is a leopard in Daniel, brown with yellow brown spots, right? There it is, right? And then we're going to attack. So in other words, there's a power shift. So because the Europeans tear themselves apart, right? Who emerged? China and India emerged as the new superpowers. See? Because Europeans, and while they tear themselves apart, right? That's when they invade America. They take out Britain first, and then they take and invade America. America's going to be invaded by them, and I'm absolutely sure before the end of next year. Absolutely sure. Because war can break out, Armageddon, famine. You're gonna be starving to death before the year's out. They're already telling you. You're gonna be starving. People gonna be eating their own children before the end is out. This year's out. You got me on record. I'm not to delete my archives. Save it. As you put in my face next week when everything is going great. Everybody's partying. Everybody got money and comedy's great. And you put in my face, say, I thought you said that, nigga. Well, okay, then I have to shut up one eye. Okay. There you go, brothers. I'm gonna leave it there. So again, I'm gonna tell all this happening pretty soon. We're in it right now. But the silence, they said before, 6th seal. Remember the 6th seal, that's when the shaking is a war, not earthquake. Get rid of that King James Version. That's a war. It happens after, right? See? And so it happens after silence. Where's the silence? We look at the 5th seal. There's silence there. All other seals, he hears something. But in the 5th one, he hears nothing. That's a sign. So after the 5th seal, that's the silence that we're doing right now. Then that's when all hell breaks loose in 6th seal. Now remember, they were saying things in 6th seal in that chapter, but they do in the next chapter, which is still part of 6th seal. They say something. So the only chapter that doesn't say anything is the 5th seal. That's the silence for half an hour or 6 months. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. We're going to leave it there. Brothers and sisters. Let me my audience here. This is the Black Alert segment at Fire Zone. Fire Zone out. Okay, brothers and sisters, thank you for listening. hope you understand. Again, you can contact us. We have people that can help you study the angel if that's what you want to do. But we're not trying to convince you anything, brothers and sisters. We'll give you information. We live for gods. We don't live for children, for gods. You came here as angels, you're going back as gods. Let's make man, like, like, you're talking about Adam, you're talking about us. See, we lived up from angels to gods. That's how you can return home. That's why he got the angel mind. That's why the 25th sign had to come, because he can give you a God mind. Because he only want to break the angel gives you a God mind. That's what's called revelation. Because once the seals are broken, you study it, then you get your God mind. Okay? We're gonna stand, brothers and sisters, and that quality is get to the Lamb's Book of Life. Because you ain't going any place without it. There's Farrakhan in the Lamb's Book of Life. There's D.J. Jakes. There's the Pope. You better check that out, brothers and sisters. That's your life you're playing with, not mine. We're gonna stand, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna let you go. Okay. Let's see. Assalamu alaikum.